All right, I'm going to bring in my wonderful authors now, and we are going to talk some about writing and independent publishing. Oh, hey, Keisha, long
Hi
time no see.
again. I haven't seen you guys in a couple minutes.
Ah, look at all these beautiful people. All right, the first thing I want you to do is we're just gonna go, it's clockwise for me. It may be backwards for everybody else. So Kelly, John, Keisha, Sara, just go in that order. Everybody tell me what genre you write, what your name is, and really quickly where we can find your books. We'll go over where to find your stuff again more at the end, but just in case people can't hear the whole thing, promote yourselves. Kelly, you're up.
All right. Hi, I'm Kelly Guentner, but I write under the name of Kelly M. Edwards. I have one book out, another book coming out. That's the second in that trilogy. My books are superhero romance, and you can find them on Amazon and Barnes and Noble just by searching Kelly M. Edwards. Look for Scorcher. You can also find them by going to linktree.com/phoenixescosplay. I have a direct link to where to buy my books right there. And what else did you want? Did I answer all the questions?
Your genre, Kelly. No, that you said that. You got everything. You got everything. You're good. Johnny, it's your.
Hey there, friends and foes. My name is John Pyka. I am a multidiscipline storyteller. So I'm an author, artist, cosplayer, podcaster, actor, singer, magician. I should be wearing a Girl Scout brownie badge with all of the things. But I've got several books out, both fiction and nonfiction. In the fiction genre, I've got my comic book series, The League of Impossibilists. That's issue 1. It just dropped about 2 months ago, and issue 2 is on the way. It will be in print very soon. And my novella series is called Tales of the Decoverse, and this is Volume 1, Nightreich. Volume 2 is coming out in 2 months. And they're actually republished from the original compilation that was originally called Tales from the Flip Side. But got with a new publisher and doing brand new artwork on everything and re-releasing individually the way it was originally intended. We can talk about that when we talk about the pros and cons of working with a publisher versus self-publishing. And you can find me right there at johnpyka.com.
Hi, guys. For those of you that have not been watching for the last few hours, my name is Keisha Acuff. I do online YouTube stuff, and I also write. So I've actually got a couple books out. I've got 3 anthologies that I'm currently in. This is one of them. And then I have this one, which is Freedom. And then I have one more of children's poetry. Those are all the anthologies, but I just recently published, I know you guys have there we go. So you guys can put up the other one, but I just published Him, my first solo novel, on the 1st of the month. So that was super exciting. And so I kind of write all over the place. The first 2 anthologies that were popped up are more of informational. I mean, they're still, poetry, art, that kind of stuff, but they're more informational. And then obviously the kids' poetry is written for kids. But this one, I'm considering it a horror romance because it's got a little bit of everything in it. But yeah, that's kind of just me. I don't have much else to say, guys.
Hey guys, I'm Sara Freites. I am an actor, author, cosplayer, random person. But I wrote a series called the Rise of Midnight series. First book is called Rise of Midnight. The second book is called Rise of Daybreak. It is a young adult vampire fantasy, urban fantasy type genre. And I'm working on the third book, which I don't have a title for yet, the third and final. So it will be the Rise of Midnight trilogy. You can find my books on Amazon. Rise of Daybreak just published at the end of December, this December or last December. So that's a new release. And you can also find my links on my link tree on Instagram, Sapphire Art on Instagram, SAFIR Art. It's my initials. But so you can find my books there, or you can go to Amazon.
All right. Thank you all so much for giving those intros. So now everybody knows who they're talking to. I'm going to jump right into it with one of my first questions as soon as I can get my screens all together. So our main topic today is self-publishing, and the meat of it right there is, why did you choose to self-publish, or why are you choosing to self-publish?
All right.
Kelly, take it away.
Okay, I'm gonna jump right in. So when it's been 10 years since I self-published my first book, and when a lot's happened in the geek world in 10 years, obviously. When I first started looking into this, there were not really superhero novels. Obviously, comic books were big, but like a novel focused on superheroes, there weren't a lot. So when I looked, I was like, how do I categorize this? If you can't categorize it, and this is not me thinking like, oh, my book is special. This is me going, okay, how do I sell this to an agent? Because I went through the querying process. And to go through the querying process, you have to find agents that take your specific genre, and you have to find your target audience. I'm like, well, superheroes are kind of under urban fantasy, but not exactly. They're kind of under sci-fi, but not exactly, depending on how you write them. Superheroes can fall under a lot of genres, as we now know. So finally, after going through the querying process, I realized this is not a story that's marketable in that way. This is a story that's something I want to get out there, and I'm okay with it not selling to a lot of people. I just want to get it out there to a smaller audience because it's more of a niche story at that time. This was like when I was going through this whole process, because like I said, I published it 10 years ago, but I started the query process like 2 years before that. So this was before Iron Man came out and before the MCU started, and
99 BIM before Iron Man.
Yes. And so I just went through this whole process of exploring, well, who's my audience? Who am I going to sell it to? Does it have the mass appeal to go the traditional publishing route? And for me, I determined it did not at that time. Obviously, a lot's changed, but now the market's oversaturated. And now I'm like, okay. And now that the market has changed, self-publishing market has also changed. And I'm realizing that I really like having the creative control, that I get to choose my cover. I get to choose how it's marketed. I get to choose my distribution. I mean, it's a lot of work. I'm not going to say it's not, but I like having that creative control. And so there's a lot of pluses. There's pluses and minuses to both routes. Both routes are completely valid. But for me, that's just a route that I found that works best for me.
Yeah, and one of the reasons this is one of the focuses, especially because we've had indie author panels for other nonprofit conventions that I've been a part of before, is this is one of the things that I get the most follow-up questions. People go, I didn't realize I could do it myself. I only thought of going through like a traditional publishing house, and people have questions. So Johnny, you talked to us some about what makes you want to self-publish.
So, and let me preface this by saying I've gone both routes. The Nightreich book, novella, the Tales of the Decoverse, is published by a small press publisher. A lot of people think that you either have to be with one of the big five, Random House, Penguin, whatever, Tor, whatever, or self-publish. But there's an in-between place, and the in-between is small press publishers, and that's who my novellas are published through. Now, I could have self-published, and I had thought about that. See, originally the Tales from the Flipside book was published by another small press publisher, and when I lost my publishing deal, I thought, ooh, I can just self-publish this. And there's a lot of benefits to doing that. The main benefit is, like Kelly said, creative control, but also you keep 100% of the profits. However, one of the drawbacks is that you as an individual may not have the distribution strength or clout that a publisher may have. And in particular, Nightreich, I feel like is perfect for a film adaptation or a Netflix series. And I didn't want to go the self-publishing route and have to deal with negotiating contracts on my own in an arena that I have no agency in. Whereas my publisher, they've negotiated movies and TV deals successfully. So that's why I chose to stay with the publisher, but I've self-published other work. All of my magic books are self-published. My comic series is self-published for the reasons that Kelly stated before. I maintain complete control, and when I sell a copy, I get that money. I don't have to worry about royalties. I will just tell you this. I've had 3 publishing deals. I've never gotten paid a penny of royalty money. Ever.
That's depressing.
But I can buy my own product from the publisher at the wholesale rate, at the author rate, and sell it at events, conventions, and festivals, and make big bucks. I'll sell my own books at a convention, and yes, my magic book that I sell for $5, it cost me $1.50 to print, so all of that profit is mine. Well, Nightreich, I'll buy it for $2.50 from the publisher and sell it for $10. And that $7.50, $8.50, whatever, I'm horrible with math, that's my profit that goes in my pocket. And that's where the real money is, whether you're self-publishing or going through a publisher, is selling your own product person to person, hand to hand, live in contact. That's where you make the money.
That's right. I think something a lot of brand new authors who've never published at all, a misconception that some of them have is that your publishing house is going to do 100% of your marketing for you. And I have never heard that be the case ever. You still have to learn how to sell yourself and your product, and you want to meet people who are going to help you do that. So if that's what you're hoping to get out of a publisher, you're going to end up going down the wrong track for a little while. I mean, they can absolutely help you. Go ahead, Johnny.
Yeah, and here's where the publisher really helps. One, they're putting the money up front for artwork, for formatting, and they're going to be able to put that book in front of reviewers, in front of the press, and because they are churning out product, those outlets are going to be familiar with them. They're going to be more in tune with them. And so they're going to cover your release at a much higher level than if you just were doing it on your own. Because, a book reviewer may not know Johnny from Joe Schmo, but they know what's coming from my publisher. And so they're going to put it at the top of the stack ahead of someone self-publishing. But beyond the initial push of the release, the publishers don't advertise. They don't promote it. They do the initial push to tell the world it's there, to tell the media it's there. But then it's up to you as the author to put butts in the seat, as I like to call it, to sell the tickets, to make the cheddar. It's your job.
Yeah, any of you can correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding as an editor, that's why I'm here. I know so many talented authors, partially because I'm a freelance editor. There's no such thing as getting done with your book and handing it to another person, whether it's your editor, whether it's a publisher, anybody, and just being like, okay, I'm done. It's going to sell now.
Now, I will say this. The other good thing is my publisher paid for the editor. You know, I didn't have any upfront expenses. And that's really good. But, you know, not everyone wants to cede that creative control, because I don't have 100% creative control. I have 90% creative control, but the publisher has, you know, the right to make edits appropriately. They are the ones who ultimately pay for the artwork. So while I have feedback and input, at the end of the day, it's going to be their decision. So some pros and cons, but either way you go, it's still your job to sell it.
All right, Sarah, let's talk some about your experiences with self-publishing.
Oh my gosh, I forgot what the initial question was.
Why do you want to self-publish as compared to traditional publishing? Or maybe why would you not?
Well, I did originally try to do the traditional house publishing, and I did the query and looked for an agent, and I kept getting the feedback like, well, I like your writing, but I don't want to represent vampires. So they basically continued to tell me that the vampire genre was oversaturated, and they didn't want to represent. They're like, oh, you should change it to, they wanted me to change it. And I was like, no, this is what I wrote and this is what I want. If you don't want it, that's fine. I don't want to change it. So I went through quite a few, I can count them on more than one hand. What's the word? They deny you. Yeah. And it was all the same. Just, oh, your genre. No, I don't want to represent that genre. So I was like, well, I'm not changing the book. So I started looking into self-publishing, and it was more attractive to me than doing the house publishing on certain levels. There was things I was kind of like, man, I would love to have a publishing house that paid for the editing and did the artwork and all that stuff. So there was a lot of stuff that kind of made me kind of sad. I was like, oh, but then I was like, well, you know what? Let's just try it. Let's just go for it. And I got really lucky. I know a lot of people that have kind of done this before or are doing it. And I know a lot of artists and editors and so on. And so I just kind of got some feedback from people that I knew. And I'm very, very thankful that I had a circle of people like that just had a lot of info that they could give me. And so I finally, after talking to some people, I said, I'm just going to do it. And you know what, whatever, if 5 people read my book and 1 person likes it, whatever, I don't care. If I get a bunch of 1-star reviews, this is what I wanted. So, and a friend of mine offered to do the cover, and I literally just drew up the cover and sent it to him. And I was like, okay, I'm still going to pay you, I was like, because he was like, no, I'm going to do it for free. I was like, nope, I'm paying you. We're artists. We help each other out. And he sent me back in 2 weeks what, his rendition of it. And I cried. I was like, oh my God, it's so beautiful. But
it is a beautiful cover.
Thank you. He did a really good job.
It is.
That was kind of the thing, what you guys were saying. You have artistic control, and I'm very artistic. I like to act and draw and write and do all this stuff. If I don't have my own finger in my own stuff, I feel like it's not really mine. So I was really happy about it. I know not just the cover. There's a whole lot of other things you have control over too. But and then again too, if I do something, I make mistakes, that's on me. I don't have a whole lot of people to back, your own, I guess, editor that, they're human and they miss things too. But I guess when there's a mistake or there's something in your book, I'm like, man, I kind of wish I had changed that. It's on me. I'm like, well, that's okay. I'd rather be mad at myself than mad at somebody else for doing, So yeah, the creative control was the biggest attraction to me. So there's still days where I wish a big publishing, house would have found my book and would have wanted it. But, I wouldn't change it.
It could still happen. That could still happen.
My book's hitting me. It's like, stop talking about it.
And Sarah, you've got 59 5-star reviews on Amazon for Rise of Midnight.
Oh no, some of them are 4 and 3. They just look like, once you get so many, they like blend in. But no, they're not all 5-star, I swear to God.
5% are 4-star. You have no 3-star, no 2 or 1-star.
They're probably on their way somewhere, I'm sure. Or somebody was like, I don't want to.
Hey, girl, take the compliment. Take the compliment.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're amazing. Your book is amazing. Take the compliment.
I know I'm gonna have to read it now because that's definitely my genre.
Yes.
So the one that I just published is kind of about vampire cult thingies.
Yes.
So
kind of.
Okay, so
it
it is. So like that's my genre. I don't care what anybody else says. But yeah, I'm kind of the same way as all of you guys. Going last, like all of you guys pretty much brought like the creative freedom to do what you want with your book. Mind you, I had editors, like I'm sure you guys had editors that were like, hey, maybe you might want to change this part, or maybe you want to spice it up a little bit, which is cool. But in the reality, if I said no thanks, like that would have been it. I don't have to follow what anybody else says. Thankfully, like Sarah says, I am surrounded by creative people, and they are the ones that pushed me to self-publish my own solo book, because I have stacks of things that I've written for years, and I was showing them one night. A bunch of my friends were just like, Keisha, we're gonna publish one of these. And I was like, well, I don't know how to do it. And they were like, we'll walk you through it. And I was like, okay. Anxiety took over. But I'm really glad that I did the self-publish route, because my anxiety and working with other people, like, if you are like the least bit critical with me, I'm like, okay, cool, gonna go cry in a corner now.
So that's the secret to make you do what I want you to do.
I already cry in the corner because of you, John. It's okay.
No. Maybe we should work
Johnny.
together, Keisha, because my clients are constantly like, Crayle, you're not mean enough. And I'm like, I told you what I thought. I'm sorry that you don't believe your writing is good. Like, it's not like I've been like, oh, well, this comma belongs here, but I would feel mean if I said that. I'm like, no, this is how commas work between lists of adjectives. Here's when you do it. Here's when you don't. Here's a link. Maybe they'll think I'm mean. Am I over-explaining? Am I beating a dead horse? And then they're like, Crayle, you're not mean enough. And I'm like,
Can we talk about Crayle for just a minute?
Yes.
Because
she's a beautiful human being.
She is she is gorgeous. She is incredibly talented, but I am blown away by the level of detail in the panel outline you sent. I'm just like, this chick has her stuff together, which means I'm probably going to be giving you more responsibility on the network because you showed up.
Oh no,
I
Crayle,
failed to weaponize my incompetence.
Because you're epic. This is awesome.
I got started in editing by being an English and literature tutor in high school and helping students outline things in ways that I could figure out were going to make the teachers realize how to help them. Because I was not qualified to teach these classes. I was just another high school student too. But I figured out the way to get teachers to see what you were trying to do through an outline. And literally my first 2 years of editing was teaching people a way to outline and then modify their outline for their own thinking process. But this panel is not about me. Anyway, we are almost at the halfway mark. For anybody who's just now tuning in, this is the Multiverse Fundraiser being sponsored by Back of the Cereal Box Podcast Network this weekend. 3 days of events. We're about halfway through the whole event, actually. And we are benefiting actress Valerie Perrine, who was in Slaughterhouse-5 and Superman. She's done amazing things. We have been interviewing people all weekend who've had their lives touched by Valerie. And now it's time for all of us to come together and support her in her battle against Parkinson's disease. There's a donation URL at the bottom scrolling by, tinyurl.com/MVFR22. If you listen to the end of this panel, we'll talk to you about a giveaway we're doing where you could win multiple out of 40 prizes if you donate. So stay tuned.
Now Crayle's like, how do I change this layout? Like that,
Look at my
Crayle.
face, it's huge.
Oh my
Riley, you're
gosh.
so much better at that than me.
I may help you along with that.
Johnny's been helping this panel. I've been doing this for like 4 hours now, and I keep forgetting which buttons to push because it's been
You're
6
great.
months.
You're great. You're doing great.
And I should give an update. We're over $200 on donations. So, well done, guys. Let's keep going.
That's
Keep
awesome.
it going. Keep it going. Last June, when we did this under a different name, but this is going to be the name moving forward, we raised $1,000 for the Actors Fund. Let's get to at least $1,000, but let's top that.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure we
Getting-
can do it.
I think we can top it.
Getting back to talking about publishing, though, I have a question from the audience. And who's this David McDonald dude? Yeah, that's my husband. For anybody wondering, he wants to know: do publishers usually offer editing services?
Johnny.
The short answer to that is good publishers, yes. If you have a publisher that is asking you to provide editing or to pay for editing, that is not a publisher. That is a vanity press, and that's different. So a publisher should be paying the freight on everything. If you sign with a publisher, you don't pay anything out of your pocket.
But I think it's important to note that to get a publisher to sign with you, you have to have a pretty solid book or a solid pitch.
So I'm
Lots
the
of crying
worst
in the corner
person.
for Keisha.
Oh,
Oh no!
girl thing.
So can I tell you guys a story that is going to make you absolutely sick?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Make us
Do it.
sick.
So my first published novel or work of fiction, Tales from the Flip Side. I was doing a show called Swingin' at the Roxy, which was a magic musical starring me in my original character of Big Daddy Cool Johnny Della Rocca, swinging solid on the 2 and 4. Can you dig that? And this publisher saw the show and came up to me after the show and said, "Hey, have you ever thought about publishing stories about these characters?"
Ooh.
And I was like, because I said, well, yeah, I've thought about it. He said, good, because I'm going to publish it. And 9 months later, the book was published.
Damn.
Woohoo!
Now, that doesn't happen to everybody. Most people have to go through finding an agent, sending submissions and whatnot. But let me tell you what that did for me is when it came time to find another publisher, I didn't have to look very hard. That publisher came to me. They said, "Hey, we heard you lost your book deal. We want to republish that book."
Nice.
And because I was at that place, I was able to say, "Okay, I'm going to let you republish it, but we're going to do it the way I want to do it and the way I wanted to do it the first time." And so, yeah, I tell other authors that story and they get really mad at me because they
Aw.
came to me.
It happens.
Yeah.
I
Some
live
of
in the
the
middle of
down-
a cornfield, so if somebody comes to me, I'm probably locking the door and grabbing my gun. I'm just throwing that out there.
I mean, if they're coming to you, it's probably because they read your self-published stalker book. And they
True, and they're like, "Oh, it's about stalking, so she's fine with it."
I will say I have worked with some authors before who got pretty deep into almost committing to working with a publisher and then found out what the content evaluation was going to be like, which is one of the many phrases certain publishers use for we want to make your writing conform to our content standards and have
What?
heard horror stories of everything from you're not allowed to say the goddess. There are no goddesses. There's only God. And you're like, I'm writing fiction. Why do you
Oh.
care? All the way down to, you use the term butt cheeks, and that's not allowed. I think both of those stories
Really?
are from the same publishing
Wow.
house.
Oh, yeah.
actually. Oh, yeah.
There's a whole process that you go through with a traditional publisher. Like, I had to provide a list, like a character Bible, of all of the characters in the book, in the stories, and they went and did a copyright search to make sure that there were no similar characters trademarked elsewhere, and I had to change 2 character names because of that. So
it's useful though.
yeah, absolutely. And there were certain guidelines of, there was a romantic scene that had to be omitted.
Wow.
John, I've never seen this side of you before.
Set up, if you do go the route of setting up a Patreon, that romantic scene could be one of the behind the scenes things people get to read.
Do it.
Gravy.
I'm calling you on
For
air.
gross context,
bad
use the word
ideas.
gravy.
Oh, I
actually.
have a Patreon.
Oh, well, then.
Well, make sure you mention that at the end, Johnny, when we redo self promos. Kind of dovetailing into a lot of this is we talked already about how it's always the author's job to be selling the book, regardless of what level a publisher might help you if you don't self-publish. What do you guys do right now to get your book in front of faces and market yourselves?
I want to hear from Sarah on this because she's the one with 59 5-star reviews.
You put me at the front. No, don't make me big.
That's how I feel. I keep being like, stop with my face.
Like, are you sure you want to do that?
You have a beautiful face.
Thank you.
It's
It's
true.
just because my camera is smudgy. My stuff's falling over everywhere.
You're beautiful. Get over it.
Thank you.
Take
Look
the
who's talking.
compliment, Sarah.
Okay,
Yep.
I'm sorry. Thank you so much. So I forgot how. I didn't even think about this. So one of my friends works at a bookstore in Chicago, Illinois, where my book takes place. And when it first came out, he reached out to me and was like, "Hey, can I stock your book in my bookstore?" And I was like, "What?" Because I'm not supposed to say this. He's a cop, but he also owns I didn't know that he owned a bookstore. He just doesn't put it out there, I guess. And I was like, "You own a bookstore? What?" So I sent him, I think, 10 copies, and he came back to me 2 months later. He was like, "They're all gone. Send me more." I was like, "What? Are you sure?" So I sent him more. And so every couple of months I send him, he just lets me know how many he wants. And there's another store, which I don't know if you guys have ever heard of, Quimby's in Chicago, that will take indie author books, just cold call, like you just go in or send them an email on their website, say, "Hey, I'm an indie author. I wanted to see if you would stock my books." I mean, and there wasn't like a huge, I don't know what you call it when they go through and kind of, they're like, "Oh, well, I don't know about this."
Vetting process.
Exactly. It wasn't huge. I mean, I think that I just sent them the cover where, my Amazon link, and they just read it. And I think they emailed me like 2 days later, like, "Hey, yeah, sure, send us 4 copies and we'll let you know when they sell out. And we'll send, we could send more." And so that was pretty cool. There wasn't a whole lot of, red tape or anything I had to go through. There's another bookstore, and I stuck with Chicago. I don't know, I guess because that's where the book is based in, but I also went to Novel here in Memphis, and my book is stocked there. And there's one other bookstore here in Memphis, and Novel made me kind of nervous. I don't know if you guys have any books in Novel yet. I felt like they were, they ask a lot of questions about the content, so which I understand that because they're probably trying to represent their bookstore and stuff. But I think for a minute, I don't think they were going to stock it, and they decided to. So I don't know what about my book made them a little nervous about it. But anyway, so it's in Novel too. So I just try to get it physically in other places, and it's hard for me. I'm not really good at promoting myself. I get kind of weird about that. I don't like to be like, "Here, read my book." So I go on Instagram and I use my cosplay front to be like, here's a book I write, but my name isn't really, my name's not on there, but my name's not on my Instagram. So I don't feel like I'm, "Hey, Sara Freites, look, it's me, and here's my book,"
Well, here at Back of the Cereal Box, it is a rule. You have to promote yourself. You have to
Oh,
promote
okay.
your friends.
Always promote yourself is basically a rule. So
Okay.
Right?
I'll
Like you come
remember
over
that
to my
next time.
house and it's a rule that you have to hydrate. And you come on
Okay.
back of the cereal box and it's a rule you have to promote yourself and your friends.
Okay, I'm down with that.
also,
I just stalked you on Insta, by the way, so you have a new follower.
Yay, I follow you
and I was
back.
Stalker.
going to mention you do stuff on Instagram, and I'm going to show off the little video that I stitched together of the Vatican
Oh,
that you sent me.
Okay, y'all can't laugh at these.
So, I didn't think I'd spend my spring break helping vampires send a demon back to hell, but here I am. Vampires, demons, and then there's me, the reincarnation of a powerful caster.
I
Okay,
want
I
that.
think that was
So, Sarah, did you
don't be-
create that ad or those
Yeah,
ads?
those are TikTok stuff that I do on, like, I put them together on BookBrush, and then I put editing through TikTok and do voiceovers.
Wait,
So
did
they're
someone
kind of cheap.
book brush?
BookBrush. Have you guys ever used BookBrush?
No. What is
Oh,
this?
look
no,
it up.
but I'm
Okay,
writing it down in my notebook right now.
Do it now. Okay, so I found this out on one of my indie author groups that you can go and upload your cover, and they have these 3D book pamphlets that you can just stick on there. You can do like an iPhone, you can do a big like paper novel, you can do a little ebook, a Kindle. Like it has all these little like I'm not good with words today. I shouldn't be a writer.
Words are hard, right?
They are hard. Oh my gosh. So
I feel that
anyway,
so much.
oh yes, ma'am. But and it's a subscription. I did it for 1 year. I think it's like $99 for the whole year. And I just once I was done with it, I was like, well, I'm not going to repay that subscription. But you can you choose backgrounds. There's thousands upon thousands. Like I looked for dark cityscapes, or Chicago night sky cityscapes, and there will just be tons of them. And you can go on there. There's other things. You just make your own advertisement, basically, and they look like real books. Like I don't know how to explain it. They're just
Good.
It's pretty cool. So, but I use those for my backgrounds, and obviously my 3D little books. As that wasn't actually my book in the phone. That was just a 3D rendered book that they provide. That you upload your cover, and it puts it on whatever template you pick. So. It's awesome. You guys have to use it.
You just changed
John,
the life of so many authors.
Oh, you guys are gonna love. Yes. Like I was sitting here, I'd be up at 3 o'clock in the morning, like, oh my god, let me find this cityscape. Like I was so excited when I could, because originally I was gonna hire a photographer, and I was like, what am I gonna do for a backdrop? I don't live anywhere near Chicago, and I was like, I don't know how this
now
works.
that you know me, I'm in Illinois, so.
Oh,
if you need me to go to Chicago, I'll go to Chicago. I actually have
go
millions
to Quimby.
Girl, millions of books.
Illinois, and get your book in that bookstore.
I will. I will add it to my home library.
Okay. I love that you did that, Sarah, that you went to individual bookstores and got your book in there. That is actually, I come from the music industry. I was a record label executive. And that is called the Loretta Lynn model.
Oh, I love Loretta Lynn.
Loretta Lynn couldn't get a record label to give her a deal to save her life. Aww. And so she took...
Joke's on them.
Yeah, right. She took her records in the back of her car, and she went from radio station to radio station all across the country, and she would not leave until they played it. And she became a hit before any record label even looked at her. So
self-promo at its finest. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Sarah is the Loretta Lynn of self-promotion.
Oh, no.
I have been putting some comments up on the screen. We have so much to go over today. I don't have time to read everyone's comments, and that breaks my heart.
All right,
But
so
Ryan
Keisha-
says hi. He watches so much of our content.
Keisha, do you want to talk about what you do for promotion first? Because I want to go last.
Oh.
Okay, so I have been. So I live literally in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of cornfields. It is an hour drive to anything of significance, and that's even if I want to find a Walmart. So I have been trying as hard as physically possible to promote online. So I'm posted all over Twitter, all over Instagram, all over Facebook, in any groups and things that I can. I use as many hashtags as I know how to use. I'm not great with internet stuff, and that's how I'm trying to promote my book. But I'm learning
And
as I go.
she took a fast from Facebook the day her book dropped. She's like, "Oh, I'm not on Facebook anymore." I'm like, "Are you crazy?"
I'm
She should
gonna
be
take a
crazy.
fast from Facebook because I take a fast every year around this time from Facebook just to clear my headspace. My editor messaged me and she goes, "Keisha, if you get back on there right now, you don't have a choice." And like all of my friends were like, "So that was a short fast?" And I was like, my editor yelled at me, and
I would yell at you
now
too.
I'm back on Facebook.
Like, yeah, I do freelance
so
editing,
Ryan
but I have a
was
marketing
actually-
background, and I would just be like, Keisha, no.
I
Ryan
was like that on the air. I was like, "What are you doing, Keisha?"
I know. I tried really hard. Like, I'm not a huge online person, which is funny because that's mostly what my what I do. And like being online, I don't know. It's just a thing. And so like I tried to take a fast, and Ryan, the one that said hi Keisha, he was like, "Keisha, you have to know." He's like, "You're not taking a fast right now." He's like, "This is when you promote." He's like, "You have to promote. You don't want this to flop." And I was like,
Tell her Ryan.
I was like, "Dang it, guys. I feel like okay." So I got back online, and I've been trying my hardest to undo the crap out of people until they buy my books. So guys, did any of you into buying my book? Johnny, you
I'm
better
going
buy
to.
it.
It's on my list.
Okay. I mean,
right.
it's $3. I'll pay for it.
What?
Oh my God.
I know that's not how
Don't
that's
pay
pay
for
for
that
it.
for me. $3? What are you? We gotta talk later.
Craylee's gonna yell at me. By the way, Crayle, just a side note for those of you that don't know, I did make a it's up here somewhere. So we have decals now that say hashtag Keisha B driving me Crayle.
Yes.
I bought a Cricut the other day just for the purpose of making that hashtag.
Oh my
Carl,
gosh.
I feel like that's right. I feel like you were one of the friends pushing Keisha to publish.
Carl, yes, and he's also one of my editors. So yes, he was one of the people that was like, he pushed me to get it out there, and he's been helping me. Oh,
Carl says, "I am driving over to Keisha's house right
Keisha.
now. Gonna straighten her out."
I would run, but I have been sitting on the Multiverse Fundraiser since it started this morning, and I don't think my legs work anymore.
I was going to say, are your legs numb? Are your legs numb? Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so is it my turn to answer the promotion?
Go for
question?
it.
I feel like we should make you wait until the end of the whole hour of indie publishing.
Okay.
No.
You just rolled over and took that. Come on, Kelly. No. What are you doing to market yourself?
Okay, so when I first, again, it's been 10 years between books, so things have changed a lot. When I first published my first book 10 years ago, I looked up, I had a lot less contacts, but I looked up what to do. I read a lot, and so virtual book tours were the thing to do. So I cold contacted every book blog. I was like, "Hey, will you interview me? Hey, will you review my book?" Just got my book into as many hands. Also, giving free copies on Amazon was a really big deal then. So my book was #1 in the free free offerings that weekend. So that was kind of exciting. Like, yeah, you know, how many people read it? I don't know. But I did get some good reviews off that. So that was my thing. This time around, it's a little different because I have this podcast platform. So I'm using that to basically mention that every time I'm on the air. Not even sorry.
As you should.
That's part of your deal, Kelly.
That's my deal.
You get free advertising.
Yeah, thank you. And pretty much, like we say, always promote, like, bring it up in every conversation. Sarah, don't feel bad because you may feel like you're talking about your book a lot. Other people are going to be like, I didn't even know you wrote a book. Why aren't you talking about this? It's not annoying. I promise. People love hearing about this stuff.
It's so true. You hear yourself every time you say it, but other people only get this like passing window. Like you're a train and you're moving by, and if you're not shouting out the train window at the passengers at just the right moment, they don't hear you.
See, that's a good way to put it.
The truth.
Yeah.
Last night, I was with a friend who I've known for years, and you know, we were together, and she said, "So tell me what's going on." And I talked about Back of the Cereal Box, and she said, "Oh, is that new?" Listen, I post about what we're doing every single flipping day on every social media platform. And
it's like all I see now.
She has not heard of it.
Yep.
And she's a close friend. She didn't even realize. So, Sarah, always be pimping.
Okay. I got this.
And since we're running low on time, I also have, speaking of pimping,
sorry.
Spending
cheese.
What?
And that's
I thought it was cheese when I was a kid instead of G.
So I also hired someone to help with my marketing this time around. My friend Kayla launched a business, and now I'm going to play the ad because my friend Kayla, part of her business was to help me make this ad, and she played Aiden beautifully in the ad.
Iris took me when I was a kid. I thought they were teaching me to control my powers, but now I know that they've been training me to be their weapon. The time has come to take my life back.
I got chill bumps.
Thank you. Sarah also Sarah just hired Kayla. I'm sorry, I'm talking over you.
Oh no, I was just gonna ask you, did she also do your voiceover too, or was that you?
She did the voiceover.
Oh, cool. That's awesome. She's
Yeah,
multi-talented.
Yeah.
Very multi-talented.
I
She's
need
going
to
to
learn
do
how to be
some
more
amazing-
with stuff like this.
What was that, Keisha? Sorry, I have a lag.
We didn't hear you, Keisha.
Oh, I
It
said
cut
I
out
need
for a
to learn
second.
how to be like. Oh, I think my internet's deciding to not like me. Oh no, I said I need to learn how to do stuff like that because you guys got like so many cool like promo videos and stuff like that, and I'm just sitting here like, look, guys, book.
That's where you start, though.
That's
You have to
okay,
have the book
yeah.
to promote the book, and we can
Exactly.
help you. Which segues nicely into my last question for you all. We've talked about the why, we've talked about the what. Now we're going to talk about the how, because that's the biggest question on people's minds. We saved it for last, is where do you start when you self-publish? If somebody has a manuscript, they've read it over, they're
Book.
like, what do I do? How do I make it book? And obviously you're not going to be able to teach a whole class on this in 9 minutes, but where do people start? Keisha, you go first because I've been asking you everything last.
Oh, so basically I just wrote it forever ago, and I was like, you know, I'm never going to do anything with this. I just wrote it because I wanted to. I wrote it for fun, which I think is definitely I don't know, kind of just I don't know. If you're not having fun, why be doing it?
Mm-hmm.
And so I wrote it for fun, and I honestly didn't think I was going to make anything out of it ever. But I wrote it. I sat on it for a good 6.5 years. And then once my friends got a hold of me and may have threatened me slightly, we went through the editing process, or I went through the editing process once, and then I got my edits back. I started redoing my edits, and then I got edits done. There's a lot of editing in this process, by the way. And at that point, it's, do I want to do self-publish? Do I want to do whatever? I have the anxiety level of, oh, please don't talk to me. So putting my book out there and querying and stuff like that just did not fit well for what me personally I would have been able to do. But thankfully, I had a bunch of friends that have been through the process, and they were like, hey, we will walk you step by step and teach you how to do this. And so it was actually really helpful.
Make friends. Oh, darn. That's going to make it so much harder for me to eventually publish my book.
Get a team.
You already have friends. You're good.
Yeah, Crayle. What about us? We are your friends, and we have already been through the heck that is publishing. So, we'll help you go through it.
And I mean, even if you don't have people in your personal circle who've done it, the writers community is really supportive on the internet. There are groups on like every platform of people who are like, little bird, let me take you under my wing. So
if you are on Twitter, go to the hashtag writing community and hashtag am reading and hashtag am writing, because if you go to any of those, like Crayle said, they will seriously be like, okay, you are here now. Let's just keep you forever. Which is helpful.
And if that's not your experience on the internet, ask somebody at Back of the Cereal Box and they will connect you to somebody supportive. If you do have the unfortunate experience of coming up against somebody negative early in the process, do not let that sour you. Johnny, I think I would like to hear from you next.
Well, yeah, you got to get a team. This idea that we as creatives can learn and do everything on our own is ridiculous. You do not need to become an expert in every process, every step along the way. You write your story, you tell your story, then you recruit a team to help you, a team of editors, a team of designers. You might have to pay some money. You might be able to get friends to help you for free. But whatever you do, don't try to become the expert on your own. Do not become your final editor yourself. Yes, do your first edits yourself, but then turn it over to a professional editor and work with other people who, one, know what they're doing and have done it successfully. So if you don't know anyone who's done it successfully, go find someone. Find an author whose work you like, reach out to them, contact them, ask them if they're willing to give you guidance and be a mentor. I guarantee you will find the people along the way that will be willing to help you.
Right. Sarah, what do you think is one of the first steps, the get it published step that you want to talk about?
I think, I don't know if this answers the question the right way, but I think just don't give up. Like, there's a lot of things that almost made me stop because I was like, I don't understand this, or I don't want to do this by myself, or I'm scared, or I was worried about people hating my book, and I was worried about all these obstacles. And it is overwhelming when you first step in, but don't let that keep you from doing it. If you really want to do something, and there are going to be times you're like, oh my gosh, this sucks, but get past it, and you've got your manuscript. Go get your editor, and if you find a good editor, they're going to challenge you, and that can be kind of scary. That actually was really terrifying for me because my editor, she pushes me in the right direction. Sometimes it gets uncomfortable, but after we communicate and I understand, I'm like, oh wow, you are so right. But she's kind of blunt, so I always go like, oh, my heart, oh my gosh. But she'll, she's very, I love my editor, but that kind of scared me during the process too. It wasn't with that she was making changes. It was more that she would be like, Sarah, reading this from a third, outside kind of source, this is how it comes off. And I know what you're trying to say, but I think you should do it this way. Or, she's doing what an editor should do. And sometimes that can scare people because they're like, oh, I don't want to do that, or I don't want to, and there was things where I said, no, girl, I'm not changing that. This is how it's going to be. I can reword or I can do this, but this is how I want this to work. And, and a good editor will, you're the final say on that. So, but yeah, just don't give up. Just go in. It's okay to be scared and nervous and overwhelmed, but do it step by step. Do your research. Like John was saying, ask people, talk to people who have already done it, and just keep dreaming. Don't not look toward the sky. That's a weird way to put it. I'm always looking up. That's how I am. I always daydream. I'm always looking up, but. So don't let stuff bring you down and make you scared. So.
No, that is an excellent point, because I feel like the in between getting what feels like a finished product to you and getting other people in front of it can feel really overwhelming to a lot of people. That's one of the reasons we're doing this. The comment I have pulled up on the screen, don't give up, but they call me Surrender Spicer. That's one of my friends and clients, Derek Spicer. He's querying right now. So everybody send good vibes his way. Congratulate him on finishing his first novel. And anybody else who's listening to this, if you haven't let us know and you're at this point, congratulations, and don't give up. We're supporting you.
One of the things I tell my students and clients is there is an audience for every product. There is a customer for every product. There is an audience for every show. There is a reader for every book. So create your vision, tell your story, and then go find the audience. Don't let someone tell you, oh, there's not a market for that vampire novel. Oh, it's oversaturated. No. You tell your story, and you can find the audience.
Amen.
Yeah. Do I get to say anything?
Oh, you can. I was just going to say there is a market for everything. The guy who started the mail someone a message on a potato business told his girlfriend he had the idea, and she told him it was the dumbest thing he'd ever heard of. And within a few years, he'd made $1 million mailing people potatoes with messages on them because he found the market for his product. Like, it's not easy. Nobody should promise you that it's easy, but there's a market. Don't let somebody tell you that your story won't have readers. Kelly, go ahead.
I was gonna say, only you can tell your story. Like technically there are no new stories under the sun. There are new ways of telling them. And if you are passionate about your story, people are going to be interested in it. But you have to accept that your writing is not going to be everyone's cup of tea. So in putting your book out there, you are going to get negative reviews. Don't pay attention to those. Don't let them stop you. Unless they're coming from your editor. Listen to your editor. Take that constructive criticism from your editor to make sure you're putting the strongest book out possible.
This is such a deep topic. I wish we had 3 more hours to talk about it.
That's another topic. But
we are out of time. I do want all of you to put links for people to find you in the comments on Facebook, YouTube, anywhere under this video so that people can find you. If you're watching the replay on this, people did talk about where to find them and buy their books at the beginning of this panel. And I'm going to talk some now about the Multiverse Fundraiser. We need you to donate to actress Valerie Perrine in her struggle against Parkinson's. I'm going to put the giveaway rules on the screen. So go ahead and screenshot that, take a photo of it, pause this video, whatever you need to do. And I'm going to talk about that just a little bit. If I could get it to show. There we go.
Sorry,
all right.
Too many drivers behind the wheel.
Too many drivers behind the wheel. So say thank you to all of our authors. Thank you and bye. I'm going to drop you out now and put those rules back on the screen while I talk for one more minute.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you all. All right. you all scrolling at the bottom, tinyurl.com/MVFR22. I'm saying it like that in case you're listening to an audio only version of this. Donations are going to be open for a period of time after this is over. We are helping actress Valerie Perrine in her battle against Parkinson's. People all weekend have been telling us about the beautiful ways that she has touched their life. It's our turn to come together. And now I'm going to hand this over to I'm going to pull Lauren up on the screen and let her introduce anybody else who needs introduced. Thank you all so much.
The Multiverse Fundraiser is a benefit for Oscar-nominated actress Valerie Perrine. Ms. Perrine is known for her roles in Superman, Slaughterhouse-5, Lenny, and so many more. We've teamed up with documentary director Stacey Souther to raise money for Valerie's medical expenses and other needs. Every donation and every post share gives you the chance to win super prizes. Go to the website listed for details.